Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. Can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Listen online, the website that rocks, KMOD.com. Past shows are available on iTunes. Search under BMMS. Listen with your cell phone. Get the iHeartRadio app. Available from the App Store of your cell phone provider. More on that at iHeartRadio.com. And we're on Facebook. Facebook.com/BMMS69. That's where you can hang out with us each and every day. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Corbin.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Well, good morning.
Tickets to KMOD's Spring Fling Thing featuring Star Set that's going down April 13th at the Tulsa Theater. Tickets available at tulsatheater.com. We've got listener emails. We've got to tell the truth.
Cuckoo.
And we're qualifying people for CMall 2024. Chance to see every concert KMOD is a part of, including VIP Weekend Rocklahoma tickets. All this is from Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, and Tulsa's Rock Station 97.5 KMOD. And Homie the Fireman, Bristow just got qualified. Long-time listener, Homie the Fireman. And so congratulations to him. He might win tickets to every concert that we're going to be a part of this year, including one that we're going to announce at 9 a.m. So be listening for that coming up in about 2 hours and 50 minutes. Yesterday, crazy news happens with the story of P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy Combs.
Sean.
A
Weird seeing feller.
Getting his homes raided by Homeland Security and the FBI. And the threshold that has to be crossed for a federal raid to happen is pretty massive.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good hunch
Yep.
that they think something's up. Now, just because his home was raided doesn't mean he's the subject of the raid.
True.
So that what you're making a face.
But, well, it just seems like he probably is the subject since.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean
Right.
he is. He is currently being investigated, or this all has to do with allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms.
Damn, did he?
Yeah.
That is a chef's tasting menu.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see the narcotics and I could see the firearms charges. Wasn't expecting the human trafficking and such.
Dude, this is such a crazy rabbit hole, and the conspiracy theorists, or some could argue the people that are deranged, have gone all in online.
Right.
And they're going through every single account. He's like every post he's ever made, everything,
Right.
to try and piece things together. There's one of him, like him and Justin Bieber, and him and him talking about wanting Justin to stay over for like a 48-hour sleepover. And you're like, what?
Who else did that?
Yeah, Michael.
Jackson.
Yeah. Well, and apparently there's a connection here between Michael Jackson and Puff Daddy. And
But they shared the same little boys?
some people believe that that Michael Jackson was killed.
I've heard that theory before.
Not that he, was, wanted to go to sleep, and
Right.
this guy who shouldn't have been giving propofol out like that got him way too much. Some are saying no, like he was killed.
Right. And what better way to kill somebody than to give them an accidental overdose?
Right.
Because then it looks like, oh, well, he was just partying.
Administered by a doctor.
So we'll just have to see that thing if it plays out. But there's just so many crazy things showing up. For me, the idea of them raiding your home is not a light thing. Homeland Security being involved has a lot to do with the gun charges and the child trafficking charges. And I don't think it was a no-knock warrant, but they definitely were amiss. And then there was this whole thing that they thought he was, pulling an OJ, except he did it in a plane, and he was flying around to try and not get caught, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Not get arrested.
But he hasn't been arrested. This was just a raid on his home for evidence. They believe that there is evidence in his homes to corroborate what the allegations are and that what they are investigating, which means the agents in charge would have had to write up everything they think is happening, what they're looking for, then present it to the U.S. Attorney's Office. They would have had to go, and then they would have had to then go before a judge and plead their case why they should be able to do this.
Right. I wonder how long it took for them to like fully search his home, because that's a big bitch.
The story I read this morning is they were searching it way into the night.
That's kind of what I would assume.
It ain't our house.
It's a mansion.
No.
Right.
No, and he got that big ass main house and then a side house in the back. And
Dude, the video footage from the Ruby Frank story, that crazy YouTube lady in Utah who was treating her kids like garbage. They showed video footage of them searching her home, and it was like a big to do.
Right.
And I don't mean a raid is a to do, but it took a long time. It was a massive home.
Yeah. And when you're looking for evidence, you're going to thoroughly, at least I'd like to think, they're going to thoroughly search, go through everything.
Yeah.
Not just, tip the couches over and, look under the mattress or whatnot. They're going through everything. Electronic devices, books on a shelf. What has he got hidden between these pages? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Stuff like that.
They have people that are good and trained to look for places to hide things.
Yeah.
And they'll dig up stuff if they want to. They'll dig in your floor if they want to.
Yeah.
If they think there's evidence.
There's not a damn thing you can do about it. And
No.
you got to go back and clean that ass up.
Right.
It's not like they're like, okay, my bad. Let's get this back to where it needs to be.
The thing too that's always really funny is when stuff like this happens, they want to start interviewing neighbors, and they like some neighbor driving by and they're like asking him a question, and the neighbor's rolling down the window, and he's like, man, they would bring busloads of teenagers at like 3:00 in the morning.
Oh God!
Wait, what? First of all, shame on you for never reporting it.
Absolutely.
You knew what was happening. You never reported. Like, you're just like, Mio's deal. Like, what are you going to do?
Probably because he's in on it.
Like, he never went to a party there? I mean, just because you go to a party there doesn't mean you're in on it.
No, but it doesn't make you look good.
No, that's true. That's true.
Guilty by
I mean,
association.
tell that to all the people that went to Epstein Island but never really participated in any of the nefarious things that happened there. I'm just here. I got invited to a party on a private island from a billionaire. I think that's a good idea, but now
I feel like that is a different scenario.
How so?
I think if you're like, hey, come to my friend's house for a party, it's on an island, hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, sure, that sounds fun. And on the flight, you're like, hey, there's no talking about this. There's like, you would get all these prompts. It isn't like, come on over.
Yeah, you're probably right, but that just heightens it even more. You're like,
100%.
Holy cow, I'm getting invited to an exclusive party that I can't say nothing about. I wonder what's going to happen. Is there going to be drugs there? There's going to be prostitutes?
I don't know. Things shrouded in secrecy are usually not good.
Absolutely.
No matter what it is. Right? If it gives you, I'll talk to you like I talk to my children. If it gives you an icky feeling in your tummy, it's probably not okay.
Probably not, but people still do it anyway.
That doesn't make it okay.
No, I'm not saying it does make it okay. I'm just saying people go for it, go with it because it makes them feel included, makes them feel special because you're part of this secretive, party.
An island.
An island.
I'm going to an island. I'm going to P. Diddy's. But that is the predator nature of people that are like that.
Yeah.
And there's this whole other group of people online that are saying, Cat Williams told us Taylor Swift's next and naming all these other celebrities. I hope they get what they deserve. What are you talking about? I'm not saying there are bad people in every population and segment of society. Celebrities, non-celebrities.
Right.
Not all pastors, not all teachers, not all police officers, not all DJs. Like every group section of people has bad people. You can't go the whole lot of people in LA are bad. They're all engaged in pedophilia.
Right.
That's a pretty broad generalization, don't you think?
Yeah, but I think that, one or two Let's just go with all of Hollywood's population.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what the
Right.
population is. A couple 100,000, I'm sure.
Well, we're talking Hollywood. We're talking about actors and actresses. Yes.
Yeah.
Directors,
absolutely.
producers. Okay.
Absolutely.
Not the poor people that live in Hollywood.
Right.
Absolutely. All the famous rich people in Hollywood. Okay. I'd say maybe a dozen of them. All right. And we're talking like out of hundreds of thousands. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe millions, but yeah.
Yeah. So, you got a small number of them. You're like, okay, that's expected. A couple bad apples ruin the bunch. But like we'll just say that dozen people grow into be like 4 or 5, almost 50% of the population. You're like, it kind of makes you think a little bit like, I wonder.
But we're not to that.
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but you're going, well, not yet. That sounds a little conspiracy theorist, right?
Very well.
And I see it more of like as a Michael Jackson type of character,
Okay.
or even a Puff Daddy type of
Or
character,
R. Kelly.
or R. Kelly type of character
Mhm.
that is get used to getting what they want, when they want, how they want.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
They don't get told no.
Yeah.
That is different than the whole lot of people
Absolutely.
are bad.
I would agree 100%. But when you look at over the past, I don't know, we'll just even say the past 5 years, how many Hollywood elites or how many Hollywood actors and actresses have been popped for some kind of sexual misconduct.
Well, sexual misconduct and child predator stuff are completely different.
Either which way, they made a whole movement out of it, the Me Too with the Harvey Weinsteins, and it is what it is, whether it's, sexual misconduct or child, trafficking, it's all lumped into the same. You can easily put it all in the same pile, and it all means the exact same thing. At least the perception of it is, and the perception is reality, whether we like it or not, because people see these things and they're like, holy crap, everybody in Hollywood is a goddamn pervert.
Harvey Weinstein is evil.
Yeah.
R. Kelly is evil.
We don't really know them. We don't really know them. So it's like they could have had a few bad days. I can't even say that with a straight
I'm like, what are you
face.
talking about?
Yeah.
They've been convicted.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, right? To me, those people are bad people,
Uh-huh.
but not in the same way a murderer is bad, right?
Okay.
So evil can be different in different ways.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So for me, I don't see Harvey Weinstein the same as R. Kelly.
Okay.
Now, are they both predators? Sure.
Mhm.
I'll give you that. But when you do it to a child,
Right.
that is an elite type of evil.
Right. So it just hits differently.
It's more sadistic.
Because they're helpless, defenseless
Now,
children.
now, you might be able to bring me along in an argument of that the people that in the Harvey Weinstein case could have been adult children.
Right.
I might go along with that. Like psychologically, they never grew up.
Okay.
And so they are also manipulated, but they're of consent and of age and should know better and can open bank accounts and things like that.
Mhm.
Right.
Supposed to file their own taxes,
Mhm.
drive a car, which I don't know if that really counts. But
Either way, they're the adults legally. They're
yes.
adults.
Yeah. So to me, you could make that argument. But ultimately, when it involves a child,
Mhm.
it's way worse.
Yeah.
When you talk about murdering somebody, you're like, wow, that is really, I can't believe they did that. And you're like, the headline is they murdered a child. You're like, whoa,
What kind
you
of
sick son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we talk about when you include feces in the headline.
Right.
We're like,
It's grosser.
oh, they threw fries at the person behind the counter. You're like, what a weirdo.
Right.
What a
You're
jerk.
like, they threw feces at the person behind the counter. Like, God dang.
What a sick
Oh, yeah, some
MFer.
kind of monkey.
It just elevates it to a different kind of a
Mhm.
sadistic thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Puff Daddy thing is crazy. And it does make Cat look like he wasn't lying.
Right.
But also, I'm not ready to generalize and put everybody into the same bucket just because of how they get their paychecks.
True. But if what he says more and more comes out to be true, you got to kind of look at the guy and be like, well, he's not crazy.
Then what makes him separate from those people?
What do you mean?
He's in that group too.
Is he? Because he's an entertainer?
We're saying celebrities.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity.
Yeah.
He's got millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Mhm.
He's got fame.
Right. And he very well could be in there in that group of people. And maybe that's how he knows the information that he knows. He just ain't got caught up yet. You see what I'm saying?
Like he's trying to deflect away.
Maybe so. So. We say it all the time with like politics and world stuff, Look over here, pay attention to what's going over here so you don't really know what's happening right in front of you.
I mean, he could be 8 Mile, and I'll go with that.
Absolutely.
But I don't buy into the fact that he is the hardworking one that got away, the others, they cheated.
Yeah.
They had to SD
Right.
to get what they want. But me, I am the hard worker who grinded it out. No, I'm sure there are other people that did as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying that you can't go, oh, everyone but me.
Right. No. I'm not saying that everybody in the Hollywood land is like that, but I mean, it sure seems like it more and more and more.
And you go down the rabbit hole of just Puff Daddy and Cassidy, who was a pretty big deal in the R&B world.
Yeah.
And they were together, and then you read all the things he did to her, and you're like, oh, no. According to her. These are allegations. According to her. And then they settle for an undisclosed amount. And you're like, oh, boy, that's not good.
Right.
Yeah. It is a crazy story to see happening unfold. Because really, the Michael Jackson stuff, we didn't get to really see unfold.
Right.
We kind of did.
Right.
But now we've got the internet sleuths that'll go crazy.
Because they got nothing better to do but to dig up.
Whether it's the Riley Strain story or those kids that got killed in their house in Idaho or Puff Daddy, man, I'll go to Reddit before I'll go to anywhere else and read the blogs of people and all their posts or what they're talking about in exact detail before I go to UPN 11.
Yeah.
Right.
The local news affiliate. I don't know why. I don't feel like that has more validity, but I feel like I get more unfiltered information.
That's exactly what you're getting.
But that doesn't make it accurate.
Yeah, you're right. Anybody can make anything up. But, it's like there's these people out there that really, really want to expose the truth or whatever, when we could say the mainstream media only tells you what they want you to hear.
Right. I would probably say it differently. I would say the online, let's just go with the Reddit group. The Reddit group will go unfiltered because they won't check the facts.
Right.
And mainstream media will only provide things they can back up most of the time.
You think?
More so than Big Boner 752. But you'll believe Big Boner 752.
Always believe Big Boner 752. Don't ever doubt the big bone, man.
I'm always going to be leery.
He is
of a
hard
big boner.
on the case, man.
Right. He's ready to give mainstream media the shaft.
Yeah.
All right. We've got tickets to Starset. We're going to give away KMOD's Spring Fling featuring Starset is April 13th at the Tulsa Theater. We got listener emails to tell the truth, more qualifying for see 'em all, and a big concert announcement coming up at 9.
Tulsa's morning show continues next.
Like less of a man.
I've never felt that.
Well,
I got 2 reminders.
Right. I'm not saying that you do, but there's some guys out there that.
I've never heard anybody say that. Maybe they do, but I've never heard a guy say that.
Well, fortunately for Jack Johnson, he kept his sense of humor. He says that the team season has been a testy one, and we've not been on the ball as we should have been. Yeah. Poor guy.
That's got to be painful.
I'm sure.
Imagine it does.
I'm sure.
Just getting grazed.
Oh, yeah.
Is a painful experience.
Yeah.
Let alone a testicular rupture.
Yeah.
Band name. Hello,
Yeah.
we are testicular rupture.
Yeah.
It is a good band name.
A guy sprained my ankle, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I pull a muscle. I know. My rotator cuff. I can identify that. It's just painful. That's all I can identify.
That's it.
It's my testicle. It's painful. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right?
Nothing more, nothing less.
Classic Eddie Murphy, man. Guys get hit in the balls. If it's just you barely graze it, guys will go, "But did that just hit my
Is that like when you get it twisted, when one gets twisted? Like,
oh no,
it's a different thing.
that can happen while you're sleeping.
yeah, that happened to a kid in school, in elementary school,
Yeah.
and he had to have it removed, I think.
It typically, if it can't be which it's weird to say this with you're using a child reference, is it
Yeah.
has to be massaged.
Oh.
And then, but a surgery sometimes is necessary to untie it.
Testicular torsion
Yeah.
occurs when the testicle rotates, twisting the spermatic cord that brings blood to the scrotum. The reduced blood flow causes sudden and often severe pain and swelling. Testicular torsion is most common between the ages 12 and 18, but can occur at any age, even before birth.
So
Wow.
like what happened is like a Karen went to God and was like, hey, this feels hardly fair.
Yeah.
Once a month I'm bleeding. I got to
Mhm.
carry a kid and grow an organ inside me and then dispose of it. Can we even this out? And he's like, I could tie his balls in a knot for a 6-year period.
Right. Like you gotta
Maybe.
give him something to worry about. Please.
I'm good. I'm good on all that.
Do you know anybody that's ever gotten that gimpy?
I do. My nephew, as a matter of fact, came out that way and had to have surgery to get it fixed.
Oh, out of the womb.
Yeah.
So they had to do surgery
Yeah.
on a baby.
On a baby. They had to go
On a
cut
baby's
his little
balls.
baby balls open. Yeah.
Listen, they were already doing the top part, so
right.
Yeah.
Might
At
as
least
well.
he'll
Just-
never remember it.
Maybe. Yeah.
know?
Maybe deep seated down in there somewhere. Maybe some hypnotherapy can bring it back. I don't know. But yeah.
I mean,
bizarre.
I hear you,
Mm,
but psychologically, they say those type of things live with you.
right.
That you may not remember it,
Mhm.
but your brain does.
Yeah. It's stored in the memory bank somewhere deep
Yeah.
down inside.
Yeah. Much like they were like, nah, C-sections are fine. It doesn't affect the baby at all.
That explains what we're
Nah,
listening to.
it doesn't.
It
How?
absolutely does.
How?
They don't get the gut flora.
Mm.
You know, that white
They don't-
cheese
Yeah.
that's
They
covered
don't
over
get
baby.
the bacteria from your vagina.
Right.
Badge back.
They don't.
I get that.
They don't. And so those babies tend to have more digestive problems.
Interesting.
Go down the rabbit hole. Nobody does more C-sections on the planet than America.
Mhm.
We're in a hurry. Turn and burn, man. Turn and
Mhm.
burn.
I can't be inconvenienced. I
Ah,
got golf.
Right. Tea time at 4:00. Let's get that baby out of here. Co-pilot was visibly upset before leaving plane in midair. So this comes out of North Carolina, where there's these two dudes, a pilot and his co-pilot, a 23-year-old dude by the name of Charles Crooks. So these guys were running a skydiving operation, and they're in the plane, and they'd already dropped off and picked up 2 sets of people, and they're on their way to pick up the third one. Well, the co-pilot is actually the one that's operating the plane he, at this point in time. So the co-pilot comes in for a landing, and it was a hard landing. Kaboom! Ended up breaking the landing gear.
Yeah, I remember the story.
Okay, happened in late July. So the pilot takes up controls, tries to get it back up in the air, back up to 400 feet. Meanwhile, while the pilot is trying to get things under control, he tells old Chuck here, hey, why don't you get on the horn with air traffic control? Let them know, hey, we need to divert an emergency landing. Well, instead of doing that, Chuck opens up the window and then barfs out the side. Typical. Okay, the guy's shooken up a little
Adrenaline
bit.
dump. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the pilot's like, hey, bro, get it under control. Get these people, on the horn. We need to make a landing.
together, man.
Yeah, instead, he decides to go ahead and lower the ramp from the back of the plane. And that's when old Chuck got up and then takes his headset off, starts walking to the back of the plane, apologizes, and jumps the hell out. Now, Chuck, what the pilot did end up landing the plane in a field. Chuck was found in the back of somebody's backyard as a dismembered mess, and the incident is still under investigation.
Yeah. So did he just go crazy in that moment?
I guess they said that he felt really bad for the hard landing, which I understand.
And the guilt just overtook him to just jump out of the plane?
Yeah, overtook him. Said that he was visibly upset and just said, you know what? F this. I'm out of here. And then there he goes.
Drugs.
Possibly.
Drugs feels like a better answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do you one better. Falling airplane part barely misses officer at Maine state capitol. So police officer's lucky to be alive after he was standing just a few feet when a 6 to 7 pound steel sleeve smashed into the ground outside the main entrance of the Capitol on Friday. An officer who works as a screener to the building was walking less than 10 feet from where the part fell. The FAA is investigating and says the part is likely from a large airliner on an international route. Or so they'd like you to think.
Is that common for parts of planes to just fall off like that? I've seen other stories where like the landing gear fell off and, ended up going through somebody's roof or something. But I feel like that's just every now and again.
This says things fall off aircraft every day. The Navy recorded an average of 460 incidents per year in the 80s. In the commercial world, Boeing received 200 reports of structural parts falling off its planes between 1989 and 1984, so a 5-year period.
Okay, so in the 80s, it seemed different because in the 80s there were a lot of plane crashes. Pan Am being one of the airlines that seemed